What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Immersive Engineering. And today, guys, we're going to be setting up the Crusher, which is Immersive Engineering's multi-block ore processing machine. Now, it does have some pros and cons compared to a lot of the other mods that you could be using for ore processing, but the biggest pro, the pro with everything in Immersive Engineering, is it looks awesome. It looks freaking awesome. So that one I'm just going to put out there. I am super excited to make it because our base is going to look way cooler with it and all the add-ons that we're going to put onto it. But that is not the most important thing, because I know all of you people out there playing modded Minecraft are all about the efficiency, just like me, which is why my bases always look like crap. So there are pros, though, in terms of this actual machine. The biggest pro, I would say, is that you can set it up really early. It's episode 2, and we're getting ore processing, which is great because it means you waste a lot less ore that could potentially be multiplied when you're doing a ton of your early game mining. Now, it is early game, but unfortunately, it does require a fair bit of resources in the form of iron. You do require some copper, but it's mainly iron. You're going to have at least 2 stacks of it, maybe even more. I think I have enough with like 4 stacks, but iron relatively easy to get. You're mining it, so if you go caving, which is probably the best way to get it early game, get your copper, get your iron. If you go caving, it won't take very long to get. But you don't have to have other really machines going for it. You don't need to, go through a lot of different steps to get all the different resources. It's really just a couple things. And then the cons to it, if, needing a lot of iron isn't considered a con, would be that it does not scale well. So a lot of different mods will offer at least a scalable form of ore processing where if you get more resources in the future, you can make it better. Things like Mechanism that start out with 2 times that's very early and get all the way up to 5 times if you're willing to invest the absolute mind-numbing time that it takes to get the entire setup going. So with this one, you can't go any further than 2 times ore processing. So it's unfortunate, but you're only going to go that far. So it's really easy to start up, works well early, but later on it is going to be, outshone by almost every other mod. It'll be, at best at baseline with the other mods, and it will not do better than any other ones. So that is one downside, but again, I still love it. It looks really, really cool. And it's also versatile in the sense that it can be used as a nice trash dump or mob killer. We're not really going to focus on that today, but yes, if something falls in it, it will take damage. And, along the same line, if you throw something in it that can't be pulverized or crushed or whatever, then it's going to die. But the main idea, if you guys don't know, is if you throw an ingot into it, you get 1 grit, as they call it, or dust out. If you throw an ore into it that hasn't been cooked down yet, you will get 2 grit or dust. It's called grit, but everyone usually knows them as dust. So you get the grit out, and then you will cook that in a furnace. We're going to automate the furnace with an external heater, which acts as a heat source. And then we're going to use conveyor belts to move all of the stuff. And we are going to set up power today too. So that was a mouthful of stuff. It took a while to get through that. So what we're going to do is jump in and start crafting. And I'm going to give you guys a heads up. I don't know that we have everything we need for today. So this is my chest right here of stuff. Some of it's not processed yet. The main one that I really need to cook down right now is copper. But the thing I'm trying to avoid is cooking down stuff I don't need to, because we're making an ore processing setup today. So if I cook stuff down that we don't need to, I'm essentially just wasting it. But yeah, so we're going to dump a lot of this stuff in here. Something else that I did was I expanded the base a little bit and made room over here for this. I think it's a 3 by 5 by 3. We'll look at that later, but I moved the kinetic dynamo over here. We're going to get power at the top of this, but we need power today. And so I thought, you know what? It's better to have it on this side where it's going to be coming out than over there and just wasting, space moving it. But we'll sleep, then we will craft, which apparently puts some of you guys to sleep while I do it, so you can just stay asleep, and then we will get into the building. So the first thing we're going to do is take out the engineer's manual, and we are going to go in to the heavy machinery, which is pretty much going to be all the sort of multi-block machines that are basic immersive engineering things, and you will find the crusher there. And of course, the reason we come here is to see how we actually construct it and what we need. So if we go over, you can see obviously how you construct it here. You can go down layers, you can stop it, and not actually have it playing. You can do all that stuff so you can actually see what you need to do, and then you can see the required materials. Now this is really the important part. It requires a bunch of steel for scaffolding and fencing, a lot of hoppers, and light engineering blocks. So we need to get started on this. I think the easiest one for us to make to start is going to be the steel, because I made a fair bit of steel, but I don't think I overdid it. Our steel is not in here, is it? Is it over here? Whoops. Yes, it is. It is over there. Okay, so what we need to do is make some steel fencing and some steel scaffolding. I think it was 10 steel scaffolding and 8 steel fencing. So I think that's going to be probably 2 of each. Are these the same? They are. Okay, so to make steel scaffolding, we're going to have to do 2 of these because we need 10. So we'll have a little bit extra, but we need steel rods and steel ingots. So to make a steel rod, it's just like wood. So there we go. And we're going to need to make 2 sets of those. Unfortunately, we're going to be kind of overcrafting some of this stuff, but we will use it in the future, in the near future, actually. So we got our steel scaffolding and then the steel fence. We're going to be using those steel rods. And I think, how much does this give us? 3, so we need more. That should be enough. That'll give us 1 extra. But again, we will use that in the near future. So there we go. We got all of our steel pieces. Now what we can go and do is, and I hope I have the wood for the hoppers, we need 9 hoppers, which is going to be a fair bit of the iron that we use. So I actually think we might be low on wood here. Yeah, we are really low on wood. Okay. Well, you know what we're also going to do? It's time for an investment. We're investing in ourselves here because I am not using a stone axe. We are going to dump this right off a cliff, right there. And we're going to come over here and we're going to chop. You know what? I want to chop this tree down just because it's kind of in the way. And if you guys are wondering what it's in the way of, it is in the way of the nice mine that I made down here. Now, I know I suggested caving. I did my time caving, but I wanted to start trying to get some diamonds to make some actual tools. So we made an actual mine. So I want to make it, you know, have like a little path from the base over there and stuff. So it's not, you know, a total degenerate sort of hole in the wall. I do want to actually start trying to make bases for these series so that people can get an idea too of how they can decorate with this stuff. Even though I have no idea how to actually decorate and make things look good. So that's just a fair warning for you guys. Okay, so we actually only need 5 more of these. And then, oh, this is the painful part. Here we go. Oh, you know what? Why am I doing it so weird? Okay, so 9 hoppers here. All that iron just down the drain, almost a stack gone. But we have our 9 hoppers. Now we need the redstone engineering blocks and the light engineering blocks. And this is really where the redstone, or where the, not the redstone, we can use up all the redstone. This is where the iron is going to start to go. So I'm going to grab out all of this iron. We're going to grab out all the copper we have, and we're going to grab out some of our redstone. So the redstone block, simple. We actually get 2, and we don't even need 2, but it's way cheaper than the engineering ones, and we need 10 of these. So we need a total of 5 crafts, which means we need 10 iron mechanical components, which means that we are going to need 40 iron plates. So we can go ahead and craft these. I think we can just do, I think that should be enough. The hammer should be good. I should have only put 40 in there and just clicked it, but you know what? I like tiring my finger out because, you know, what other muscle does the gamer work if not the fingers, man? I just, you know, in my later years, I'll just have really muscular hands, and that'll be it. Okay, so we have iron mechanical component. So we need those, 10 of those. And then we have the rest of this. So there we go. And we had enough copper, but we're going to need more for what we're making alongside of this. But I think we can actually go and set this up for the time being. Now, something we need to keep in mind is how you actually set this up, because there is a front side to it. So the front side is going to be the one with the light engineering block on the front. So if you see when you hover around it, there's not a light engineering block on the center bottom front side here. This one has a light engineering block in the very center of the bottom layer. So that is going to be that. But what we want to do is see the bottom layer, and we're going to go over and we're going to put it pretty much right on the wall here. So we got to get all these different blocks, and we should keep this down there. But we're going to get all these different blocks down here. And the first one, or the first layer, is going to be 2 full sides of this. And then that. And then I want to say it's more of this, and then this. Did I remember that correctly? No, so we missed one. Oh no. There we go. Oh, I hate this. The scaffolding, you can climb this. So it's a really big pain while you're making this. And then this side's going to be more of the engineering blocks, and then we're going to have another engineering block in the center, and these going all the way around it. And then over here, I want to say it was an engineering block and a redstone block. Oh, got to move the light engineering block and the redstone engineering block. And then the very top is going to be hoppers right here, all the way along here. And this is another reason why the ceiling is so high. I hope the hoppers actually work like that. I don't know if it matters their orientation, but then we should be able to click on the center front face, and boom, there we go. We have the crusher. Now this is dangerously close to this. I did not realize it was going to be that close. So we may move it later. But you know what, I'll do that off camera. Should be no issue, but we can start moving power. So the power for this setup goes right over here. You can see that this has the same symbol sort of as this, except this is power output and this is going to be input. So the goal for this is to actually start wiring the power through the roof of the house just so that it can go everywhere. So power, it uses a lot of things. The first way to input or output power is a connector. So we're going to be using low voltage. These essentially determine the voltage that goes through the wires that are going to be hooked up to them. And so you're going to have connectors that are able to pull out and pull out a certain voltage and put in a certain voltage. And then you are going to have wires which have a much higher capacity than the actual connector will pull out, because you can merge multiple wires into one, split wires, all that. But you can overload wires and you can move voltages up and down. We'll go over all that in the future, but just what you need to know is that we're going to go with the low voltage wire connector, and that is going to use our copper wire. So to make these, right now we're only going to need 2. Well, actually we'll eventually need 3 for the external heater, but the purpose is going to be, these are just for input and output. They're not for actual moving and changing direction. So if we come over here, we can craft these, and well, I guess it's probably still in here. Or did I dump it? I dumped it somewhere. I dumped it in here. Okay, there we go. So we're going to make just 1 craft of those. Oh, we're getting all our new recipes. So now we're going to go to relay, and you have the different high voltage, medium voltage, low voltage again. But what these do is they do not allow input and output, they allow throughput. So they essentially are what you're going to put on the ceiling to allow the changing of directions and allow you to kind of reset the wire total length, because there is a max length for the wires that you can hook up. But because you cannot actually have any blocks blocking the path of the wires, or else they won't connect, you kind of have to use these to turn around corners and all that stuff, and if you want to make things look nice. Next thing that we need to do is going to be a low voltage capacitor. And this is really the last thing. This is going to allow us to store the power, and we do need some treated wood, so thank God we had some left. And we're missing lead, which is over here. But this is going to store 100,000 RF. So not a crazy amount, but we're only generating 90 RF per tick. And so we just want to store some extra so that while this isn't running, it actually has somewhere to go. And so I think our best bet is going to be, honestly, to put it up here, like right here. Or so, I'm trying to think. Maybe it would be better over in like the center somewhere on the ceiling so that it hooks up there. That might be better like right here. We'll just put it right there. Now if you take, and I know this looks weird, but eventually I will move it and we'll make it look nicer. If you take your engineering hammer, you can click on the sides and you can make it be fully orange, or I want to say it's, so one of them is input and one of them is output. And I thought it was, I think it's this one is going to be the input and the other one's going to be the output, but we will find out. Because the only reason I say that is because we'll look in the manual, is what I remember is that it was orange and blue, but that technically is orange and blue. So let us just look at, is there anything in here about it? Basic wiring. Let us see. I don't really think there is anything in here. So the capacitor with blue designating an input. So blue is an input and orange an output. So this one is going to be our input, which is good because the input should probably come from this side. Now my only question is how I actually want to go about hooking this up, because it's going to be a little bit weird. Maybe we do the input there, and we'll do output on all the other sides, and all the machinery will be past this. And then what we can do is take, and I know we don't have the actual wires yet, but we can take the relay, and we are going to have a connector there, and it's going to probably connect up here, and then we could wire it straight to this, honestly, if we wanted to. It'll look not as clean, but it's more efficient. So we'll do that. We might even be able to go straight from here to there, but I really don't want that. So what we need to do now is go and make some wires. And I believe the way that we make the wires is going to be making the copper ingots, smashing them down, and I think it's the low voltage wire coils that we end up using, and then putting them on a stick. So we can use shears, I guess, for this. We definitely did it before. Okay, so we need to smash some of this down, and let us see if I remember how to correctly do this. So we have the copper wire, and then we put that on the stick and get the coil. So then I think what we do is we come over and we right click on one, and we right click on the other. And it says that there's a block in the way because it is obstructed, so we can't do that. That is a really cool feature though. But we can connect that there, and then we can connect this. So we're gonna move this. We are going to move this because it is going to flip me out if we don't do this. And we are going to put it right here. And then we're going to put this right there. And we are going to wire from here. And I guess, yeah, it actually stores the place that you were at to here. So now this is storing our power, and we can make all the other sides outputs for this. And that is nice because we are going to then set this to be an output, put a connector on there, and come over here and put a connector on this. And then we are going to wire straight to that. And now this should have power. So if we were to throw something in here, it actually should be able to function. So let's see. What do we want to throw in here? What piece of junk do we have? It went away. Did I pick it back up? Why do I feel like this should be making noise right now? What? Is it gone? Or did it just go right through the block? I guess it's gone. I mean, we can go see with actual stuff. You know, if we were to throw some gold ore in there, we'll see what happens. But I feel like something is supposed to be happening with this, and it's just going right through the block. Okay, guys, so I figured out what the problem was, and it took way too much troubleshooting to do. So we made a voltmeter and came over here, and none of this had power. And even though everything looked like it was hooked up correctly, that was because right here I had placed this down but had not destroyed the wheels and placed those back down again. So they were spinning, they were right where they needed to be, but they were not registering as being hooked up to the kinetic dynamo. And we don't have enough glass anymore because we put it back somewhere, didn't we? Oh my god, do we not have any more glass? Did I use all the glass? Oh no. You know what? It's no matter. Well, if I had stone, it would be no matter. I was going to say we can use it now in conjunction with cobblestone to make, I want to say gravel, maybe. I think they oh my gosh, I can't even go anywhere up near there. Is that... There we go. Now you can see this bad boy spinning. And you can see the process time it takes. But it kicks them out right there, which is great. And then what we need to do is throw this back in here. And we are going to get some sand kicked out. There we go. Now you do have the option of switching this off manually, and you can actually invert that so you switch it on using the engineer's hammer on that red button that you saw on the side. We're not going to do that though. What we are going to do now is craft some conveyor belts, and then we are going to craft a heater. So conveyor belts are going to use some leather, some iron, and redstone, and these allow item transportation. They're like really awesome pipes, except I believe you can pick items up off of them. You can also use redstone signals to make them stop. You can dye them different colors. You can do completely vertical movement, completely horizontal movement. You can do all that stuff. So they're pretty cool, and they have a really nice visual aspect to them. Now we have some leather here, which should give us everything we need to make the conveyor belt. You can see though, they have extracting conveyor belts, vertical conveyor belts, splitting conveyor belts, vertical covered conveyor belts, horizontal covered ones. So ones that actually make them more pipe-like, and we'll just make as many as we can. And then the last thing we need to do is make the external heater, which can use up to 32 RF per tick. So we want to be kind of careful with this. And it needs a lot of low voltage coil. So it looks like we are going to be smashing down some more of this copper. And the next thing we're making is a metal press, because I am so done with doing this on video. The metal press will make it so that we can kind of automate that process. So maybe that'll be part of next episode, not really worthy of a full episode, and I don't even have enough sticks. Okay, well there we go. We'll get all the low voltage wire we need, and then we will make this in the center. And we're actually going to need probably more low voltage coil anyway, on top of what we just made, which makes me very, very sad, because I should have thought of this, but for doing the actual wiring. So there we go. And I keep losing all the items in my inventory that we actually need to use to make these, which is why it's even more annoying. But okay, there we go. So we have the external heater, we have the conveyor belts, and what we should honestly make at the very end here are going to be 2 chests, and we actually need technically 3, so we'll make 2 chests, and then we got to get 1 more, and then we're going to make a hopper. And should we make 2 hoppers? Actually, yeah. Oh, I know, guys. I should have planned out my crafting a bit better, but you're seeing it live, okay? I'm like Bill O'Reilly. Everyone knows that clip, but I don't swear in these videos, so we can't say it. So you guys are just going to have to live with that one. So this is where it comes out from. And honestly, I really don't want to have to come back here because, you know, it's a little dark, a little dingy. It's a little moist from this water over here. Moist. Does that trigger you guys to say? Triggers a lot of people when they say moist. Ugh, I keep saying it. But what we can do is have chests over here that we toss stuff into. So what we can do is have a chest, and I think actually the extracting conveyor belt might pull stuff out. I've never actually used this before, but I feel like it might pull stuff out of a chest. But we don't have the stuff that we need to actually do this. So it looks very cool, but I think we're going to go with the tried and true method of just pulling stuff out of a chest directly. And I think, how are we going to try and put this in? I think I usually liked putting it right in the front, but it's not wanting to do that. So we're going to put it down, and then we're going to have to hammer it to get it to go the right way. So there we go. So it's going to dump items right in the front, and this should keep connecting it properly. But the problem is we need to get some stuff to carry it up there, because we are going to want to have it go. Now I think, well, we could actually use vertical ones. You know what? This is the big thing. These vertical things are new. How do you make the vertical conveyor belt? Okay, so boom. So we're going to do the vertical ones. You know what, guys? We're going to do the vertical ones because I'm pretty sure those will be the most efficient way. Okay, please don't fall in there. Nice. So we're going to run the vertical ones probably up the side here, not right up the front. The reason being because we need to pull stuff out of the front. So we're being intelligent human beings, and we only need 3 of these, but we're going to get to try something else new today. It's going to be cool. So we need to think it through because we're going to have items coming out here. So I think our best bet is right here, right? And then we have one from here pushing it over. Does that work? How do you have something pushing into these? Oh, so it auto connects like that. Okay, so what if we throw a piece of wood in there? Will it make it up to the top? Did it get squished? Did it get cruished? I'm not hearing anything. Oh my gosh. See, that's the problem. There's no output from this one. Give me some more. Give me some more ore. Oh, I had gold in my inventory. Okay. I'm not hearing anything, but I feel like it's dumping stuff in there. Okay, yeah, so stuff is going in there. Okay, that's what I thought. So now what we need to do is have conveyor belts that actually pick this stuff up when we get out of here. So it's going to push them that way, and then carry them this way, and that is not the right way, and then here. So this will be the in, and this is going to be the out. And we can get rid of this right over here. And honestly, we can make it nice and easy right here. And we should be able to put one chest. Well, I guess the big thing now too is that we need to have the external heater heating some stuff up over here. You know what? We're just gonna manually hook up the external heater for now, and I will deal with this off camera. So we'll show you how to do this right here, because I don't feel like doing it on camera. So we're gonna do the chest into the hopper, and this is going to put stuff in there. And then over here, it is just going to dump stuff into a chest. So it'll push things right into a chest like that. So we can just go in here, put all of our ore and more silver, and it'll pop them all up there. They'll start getting cooked down, and then they get put out here. And I really need to insulate that stupid wire, but they go right in to there, and we can throw this in there too. All the grit goes in here, and then if we wanted to, how do we make insulated wire too? That's the next question, because this is really getting on my nerves. So is there, how do you insulate wire? I swear, so here it is. So it's insulated low voltage wire. So we need tough fabric, which means we need hemp fiber. Okay, well, that's not gonna happen. So we just need to avoid this stuff for the time being. It might be worth it then, if we're gonna be working over here, for me to actually just do this. And how do I get my wire back? We're just gonna break this one, and then we'll rehook it up, because I am not going to live that way. I refuse to live in a society that oppresses me in such a blatant manner. And then we need to make more. So we need to make more connectors, which I remember the recipe for. So low voltage connector, and then we're going to have our external heater, which we can put over here so that we have something on the other side. And it is going to accept, can it only accept power from the side? Thought it could accept, okay, so it rotates like that. Okay, so it'll accept power here, and then we are going to do right off the ceiling again, and then boom, boom. What? You cannot attach this wire here. Can you only have one as an output? Okay, well then we need to do this. We need to have one there. And then we need to do, break this, have a connector, that to there, that to there, and that to there. So now these are all linked, and I'm actually gonna move this over one because it's gonna flip me out. It's going to be one of those things where, like, I'm going to have to learn to live with it eventually. But there we go. There we go. Also, please don't pay attention to the fact that there's iron on my ceiling. So the input can only have one connection, but then you can split it there, or the output. So now this should be able to start working once we hook it up. And we can actually, I want to say that there's a way to set this, because it uses power when it's heating up, but then at the same time, it gets to 8 RF per tick to stay warm, but it uses still the full 32 to cook faster. But there is a way to set it to not do that. So then, I think if we were to grab some grit and throw them in there, it would start heating up, and it'll use 32 RF per tick to start heating up. And then if we look with this, we can see that we are actually maintaining, while this isn't running, we're able to maintain our power in there. So we have max energy stored in there, and this cooks down really, really fast. So then we just manually put it over there. Now eventually I will make it so that this automatically goes over there. I might, you know, run the thing on the ceiling using the covered block and have it dump them in there. That would be a really easy way to do it. And then we'll just move these up one, have hoppers and chests below them. But I will do that off camera just because it's not really worth it to do that on camera. And I'm just gonna go and process the rest of these ores. But I think you can probably do uranium. We're about to find out. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for today. We covered a lot of stuff, so hopefully you were able to learn a little bit. I think this is probably some of the most useful stuff that Immersive Engineering has to offer early game, just because it's going to save you a ton of time when it comes to actually crafting things down the road, because you need to get as much bang for your buck as you can on your iron. As one of you guys commented, saying that, oh yes, we are playing Iron Mining Simulator yet again. And that one actually made me start laughing at my desk at work, because it is so true and I completely forgot about it until I started prepping for this episode. But like I said, guys, that is going to be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and let me know in the comments what you would like to see for the next video. And if we don't, hear anything, then we'll kind of just go with the flow. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you later.
Standing in a glass bowl at the end of a black hole.